What's going on, guys? We are back with the RPO College Football Podcast. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones, and I am super excited to be here with some of my favorite guys. We got my man Jacob. Captain, what's going on, Jacob?
How you doing today, Jerome? How you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well, man. And we got y'all already know who he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, Ray?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you guys?
I'm so excited. 8 more days to the draft, man. Eight
Yes,
more days. This is like a holiday for us, man. We are
absolutely.
always excited when the draft is around. I don't know how to feel right now. I'm like anxious, excited. I got some incredible news coming up for me personally that's coming up, which is great. This is just next week is just gonna be awesome. I'm just super excited. I'll announce the new stuff later on, maybe a different episode. But I'm super excited to be on here today with you guys to talk some football, man. If you guys haven't been on here the last couple of podcasts, you could also check them out. We're gonna wrap up our draft segment, so we're doing safeties today. So if you haven't seen all the other ones, we did quarterbacks, we did running backs, wide receivers, linemen. Did all of the defensive line, the cornerbacks last week, linebackers. So we're going to wrap it up here with the safeties. We're going to be talking about the top safeties in this draft, who we think are great, where we think they're going to get picked, all that. But before we even get to that, guys, we are a interactive podcast. So if you have questions, if you want to ask something, if you hear something that we say that you don't agree with, put it in the comment section, man. We love to hear what you guys got to say, and we will definitely answer those questions. But we're gonna jump right into it because we want to give you what you want to hear, and that's talking about football. So let's get right into it. Jacob, you up first. Your your first top 5 safeties in this year's class. Start it up. Let me hear it.
All right, so my safeties are definitely going to be a lot different than maybe not a lot different, but they're going to be a little bit different than consensus. They might be different than Ray's rankings over here. But starting out hot, number 5, Tyree Gillespie from Missouri. A little bit of hot take there. I like his game a lot. 4, Ardarius Washington from TCU. 3, Javon Holland from Oregon. I warmed up to him a lot. If any of y'all know me, I've warmed up to him a lot the past month. 2, Richie Grant, UCF. And number 1, Trayvon Merrick. It's been the same almost all year. He's good, man.
So explain picks a little bit. I know you had number 5, which was one of our guys that we interviewed on hashes.com. Explain your picks. Why do you have those guys in those orders?
So Gillespie, now once you get to like 5, everyone starts coming close. Mm-hmm. Like you have some other contenders that could be there. I just really like Tyreek Gillespie's game. He might be a tad. I wouldn't say he's undersized. He's around like 5'11", 6 foot, so he's not undersized. But the guy that immediately came to mind when I watched Tyreek Gillespie, it felt like I've been watching him for a couple years on the Eagles. He reminds me a lot of Rodney McLeod, man. Mm-hmm. Good athlete. Isn't like the rangiest, but he can make plays around the field, and he likes to tackle. That's the thing. I want my safeties to tackle, and he hits hard, just like McLeod does. Mm-hmm. People undervalued McLeod when he entered the draft. I believe he was undrafted or he was a late-round pick.
Yeah, by the Rams.
Yeah. And he turned out to be a really, really good starter for about a decade now. So I feel like Gillespie's the same way. I like Washington. He's smaller, but he's explosive. He's smart, instinctive. And again, he tackles well. Pretty much everyone in this top 5 here can tackle well. If you can't tackle well or you don't have interest in it, I'm not saying I don't want you on my team, but like
it's gonna be hard. Yeah.
Yeah. You as a safety, you're the last line of defense.
Exactly.
They gotta be able to be sure tackles, and Washington could tackle. Javon Holland's a very good tackler. He might not pack the biggest punch, but he'll wrap you up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's a very sure tackler. Richie Grant is really, really, really. I don't think there's a standout like top level first round safety this year. I think Murray could maybe sneak into the first, same as Grant, but Murray, Grant, Holland, those are guys I'd look to on the second round who could just be really good starting level safeties. I don't know if you necessarily want either as your like star center field single high guy, like someone that could play it, but I think these guys could be really, really good starters in the league, and most of them immediately.
Definitely. You said something there that I want to touch upon, but I want to hear what Ray had on his list first. So Ray, let's hear your top 5 safeties in the 2021 draft.
Okay, well, for one, I always go 1 to 5. I don't know. Everyone kind of like
you gotta build up anticipation. Where's the showmanship? Where's the panache?
I go for 1 to 5. So
Right.
And I like Jacob's list. There's only one name that I didn't hear that I'm a little surprised about.
Okay,
that is my number one safety, Andre Cisco from Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
Not a great tackler, but a solid tackler, and the one guy who can play single high safety because he can run, he can turn, he's athletic, and he's my number one safety. My number 2, I have Tivon Moehrig from TCU, good football player, good tackler, more of an inbox type of a guy, but a good football player. Number 3, I have Richie Grant, again, who does a combo. He's a good tackler, and he can cover some. So, I mean, I think that, like, I want this, Jerome. I like my defensive backs to be able to tackle also.
Mm-hmm.
But to have a guy who can cover also is really what separates the value of the safety position.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't cover in today's NFL at all, then you're probably Rodney McLeod. So, my number 4 is Jacoby Stevens from LSU, another guy who's a short tackler but not a great cover guy, but a good football player.
I like that.
And like usual, Jerome, I have a 5A and a 5B. I have James Wiggins from Cincinnati, who again is more of a free safety type, good guy who can cover some, and is a good tackler when he's playing his game. Mm-hmm. He's a little inconsistent in his tackling. It seems like, for some reason, the crazy thing, and when I watched him play, it seemed like when he didn't play against great competition, he's a little sloppy in his technique as far as the tackling. And number 5, I have Tyree Gillespie from Missouri also. I like Gillespie. I think he's more of an inbox type of a guy, but he's an athletic kid who can cover like tight ends and running backs. So
totally agree there. So the question I was going to ask Jacob before I get to the race list was Richie Grant. I really feel like he can cover high safety because his range and his knowledge of the game, I think he can really do it. Like
I think he can do everything.
Safety, but I think that he's one of those guys that I would like. I'll try him in different positions. Like Ray said, you can do multiple things with him, but like single high safety is definitely something that I think he can do.
Oh, I think both him and Moehrig both have shown in college that they can do it. Mm-hmm. They just might not be like the elite of the elite at it. Yeah, I like Richie Grant everywhere. At the Senior Bowl, he was playing a lot of slot corner, in the drills, going up against tight ends, going up against slot receivers, and dominating. He was running routes for people. I really like Richie Grant. Like Trayvon Moehrig, I have a second on him, but like he's like the first or second round player on my board. Like it's like him and Baron Browning. Like they're two guys that are just like right there, just below the first round guys. And if you want to take them in the first, I have no problem reaching around on someone like that. But Richie Grant could do everything. As for Andre Cisco, I'm gonna have to disagree. He's not my top 5. Is he my top 10? Yeah, he's in my top 10. He's just sitting there. He has range. He has range. He's athletic. Doesn't seem interested in tackling. He doesn't seem the best tackler, and it just seems it's a weird thing. He has a lot of production, but the ball seems to find him a lot, which shows me that he knows what he's doing. He's instinctive, and he knows where to put himself in the best positions. But like what I found was he wasn't like doing the pass breakups or stuff like that like Moehrig was. I don't think he's bad or anything. It was just as I said, after 5 for me, and even with 5, safety gets very close because there's guys like Nasser Ladine, Jamar Johnson, Bledsoe Wiggins. I like Wiggins as well. Cisco, Jacoby Stevens, Caden Stearns, like all those guys. If you wanted to put one above the other or whatever and have whatever order, that's fine with me. I pretty much just have a solidly set top 4 there. But it's a very, I wouldn't say a high-end safety class, but it's deep, man. You can find some players this year. You could definitely find some players this year all over the draft.
Definitely. Ray, I wanted to know how you felt about Jacob's list, because y'all lists are like almost completely different, which is the rare occasion on this podcast. So I want to know, like, what do you feel about his list, and how do you feel about what he said about Cisco? Because you have him as your number 1.
Again, I think actually our lists were similar. We just had him in a little bit in different order, and I have Cisco and he didn't. He had Morley, he had Grant, he had Gillespie. I had them all in my top 5 too. I don't have them in exactly the same order. And like Jacob said, I don't think there's any of them that are first-round picks.
No.
I do think that there is a lot of depth, like the cornerback position. There's like that top tier 3 or 4 guys, and then there's like a lot of depth right after that. Andre Cisco, I think, again, I do agree with Jacob that he is a little bit of sloppy tackler with technique. But as far as cover, he's the best cover safety in college football.
He can cover.
And he actually had the best 40 time of any safety in the draft.
Yeah, like I said, and also might I add, I did not do any player conversions either, because you see guys being projected to go to safety. I'll leave that up to a team, because if I was projecting someone like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah can definitely be like a hybrid linebacker safety. I know people want to put Shaun Wade at safety. I want to see him as like a big nickel corner first. But if I were to put him, he probably would be top 5. You need to stop sleeping on Shaun Wade. I get that he couldn't play outside. He's going to be a good slot corner safety. But just looking at regular safeties here, I agree almost with everything Ray says, that Cisco's a very good just regular coverage corner. You know what I mean? He's going to be – I know a lot of people like guys like Johnson. I like him better as a tackler than like Jamar Johnson from Indiana, because Cisco will show effort tackling. I just feel like he doesn't know how to tackle, if that makes sense. Like someone's never really given him the proper coaching technique of, all right, this is how you tackle. It's more just, whatever. You know, you just rely on your athletic traits.
Yeah. And most people, that never really play football might just be like, oh, tackling, you just take your arms and take them down. No, there's different things. There's angles, there's, hit points, things like that, especially with the new rules. So you really don't need to, it's not as easy as you may think. But Jacob, you put a lot of talked about some other safeties. So we're going to talk about other safeties right now. And we're going to talk about some sleeper safeties, because there might be guys like what you're saying that might convert to a safety. That might be your sleeper that, a lot of people are not talking about, because those sleeper guys, especially when you're converting them, you don't really want to take them high in a draft. You want to like take them in mid to late, see how they do as a kind of a project thing. So, Ray, I'm gonna start you off. What are your top 5 sleeper safeties in this draft?
Well, I mean, I have Javon Hollins from Oregon as my number 1. I mean, again, call him a sleeper. Guys that you can get like after round 3. To me, that's kind of like a sleeper. Even though that's where a lot of these – I think what will happen is you won't really see any of these guys taken in round 1, but rounds 2, 3, and 4 is where you're going to get a lot of really good value with the safety position. Number 2, I have Caden Stern from Texas. Again, I like Texas kids. I think they're good football players. He's a guy who's a good solid tackler and has some cover ability. I have Nazardine from Florida State as my number 3 guy. He's a chess piece type guy where you can bring him up and let him play some like in-box safety or maybe a little outside linebacker. He's a good football player and he's a good tackler. I think that people are sleeping on Florida State kids this year because Florida State struggled so much. I have Israel Makuruma from South Carolina. Again, another guy who's a good, solid free safety you can cover and really good length, 6'4", 210, 15 pounds. and I had Trill Williams from Syracuse, my other safety. Again, good football player, but someone you'll probably get in the 4th or 5th round who probably could help you out and really help you out on special teams in the beginning. So.
Definitely, yeah, and you a lot of sleepers guys, you might have to play them in at the special team spot real so they can kind of develop as the season goes. Jake, I want to know what your top 5 sleepers in this draft are.
So I'll just get out of the way first. Like the corner converted guy is obviously the Wades, potential Moldens. I like that he included Israel McCormo there, because I think he has a game that projects very well to safety. He's big, he's long, he's physical. I don't think he has quite the athleticism or foot speed to be a corner, but he's someone I would definitely include in that. Divine Diablo's probably my favorite sleeper safety, and the interesting about him is he's not someone people are projecting to convert to safety. He's a safety that is like a safety weak side linebacker hybrid type of guy. He's athletic, he's big, he's physical. I love his game, man. Joshua Bledsoe's another sleeper I really like. He's a little bit smaller, but he projects well to be a good strong safety. He's exactly what you're looking for there. You already hit on Wiggins. Wiggins was someone I liked as well as a sleeper, and one of the Senior Bowl guys who I felt showed out there pretty solid. I know he was a senior guy. Christian Uphoff from Illinois State, someone with some potential there. So there's a lot of, like I said, deep class this year. I feel like a lot of the sleeper guys, me and Ray actually had pretty solidly high. We kind of guys that might be sleeper. Oh, and Jacoby Stevens.
Yeah.
Ray already said Jacoby Stevens. People have been sleeping. You read any of my mock drafts, he's always been a pick in my mocks because he's just a guy you can put anywhere on the field, and he's going to be nice. LSU, you can't go wrong with DBs from LSU. You can't.
I said it, DBU.
Like, you can't go wrong with them, especially someone like him who's just so versatile. Like, come on, you can't go wrong with them.
LSU is DBU. We had this argument last year in our chat room. You guys want to know? Tell us down in the chat room. Let us know who you think is DBU.
It's not even close.
I always say LSU, no matter
what.
It's
not even close.
Not even close. So let's get into some of our small school guys. You're talking about LSU. Let's get into some small school guys. So I want to know some guys that go to small schools, like obviously outside of the Power Fives, that are gonna be very productive in the NFL. In any kind of role that they may go into. Jacob, you go first.
So we've already talked on a couple of these guys. The shame is I'm not sure if one of the small school guys, Quinterio Cole's going back to school next year or not. I'm not sure. I know he's listed on like the Draft Network. If he is not, hey, look out for him. He's big and he can hit and he's fast. If not, if he's going back, forget about him. I already mentioned Christian Uphoff, someone with a good amount of potential. It's tough. There's not that. I feel like there's no what's his name? The big. How am I blanking on him when he was a defensive rookie of the year contender last year?
He plays for
the Panthers. Someone help me out here.
Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin.
Yeah, there's no Jeremy Chin this year, or even a. Wow, I'm having a moment here where I'm forgetting everyone from last year.
Duggar?
Yeah, or Kyle Duggar this year. I'm not sure. I mean, that could be Uphoff for all I know, but there's some, like I said, they're not the smallest of school guys like a Wiggins, but that's kind of what you got this year. More bigger school safeties. Yeah, it's more of a bigger school safety class.
Yeah, you gotta remember also with COVID and everything, like the smaller schools didn't even play this year also. So
yeah,
it's kind of hard to get some smaller school guys. But I want to hear what you got, Ray. Is there any small school guys you have?
Yeah, well, my highest rated one is like my number 5 safety is James Winger from Cincinnati. I think he's a good football player. I think he's going to be taken, if not in the second round, definitely in the third round. He's a day 2 prospect, I believe. Number 2 and 3, I have San Diego State's Tyreek Thompson and Dwayne Johnson, both good football players, both guys that may not get drafted but have a shot at the end, like 6th, 7th rounders. But good football players again. And number 4, I have Derek Forrest from Cincinnati, plays strong safety in there. He's a little bit of a fire plug, 5'11", 200-pound guy who's he's a good tackler, not a great cover guy, but a guy who plays close to the line of scrimmage and makes some plays for you. And Ben DeLuca from Charlotte, another guy who's a strong safety, a 6 foot, 200-pound guy who is going to be a stud on special teams if you happen to get him. I don't think, again, it's hard to say where these guys will be drafted because we know last year teams kind of stayed away from these lower conference guys and stuck with a lot of Power Five teams, especially early in the draft. So it's kind of hard to tell where they're going to go. But I think, again, like Jacob said, this is a really deep class. You have a lot of versatile players, a lot of different types of guys add to the first 4 or 5 guys. So
definitely. Ray, I noticed that you didn't have Upholt. That's how you say it.
Uphoff, yeah, Christian Uphoff.
I noticed you didn't have Uphoff. We got to see him at the Senior Bowl when we went down there in Alabama this year. Seeing him in person, I seen that he had a lot of inconsistencies when he was down there. I mean, he's a guy from a small school, so obviously there's going to be like some things that he missed on. But I want to know what you think about him, Ray, because he has some like small flashes, but like I say, very inconsistent with what he did out there. What do you think about him?
I think he's a guy who, once he cleans up his technique, he may get some time. Mm-hmm. But like you said, very inconsistent, sloppy tackler. Again, I don't criticize guys that say they're not going to be good players because I root for all these guys. I want them all to achieve their goals and reach what they want to do. I thought he was a little bit too sloppy for me, too inconsistent. But besides that, I like him, and I like the Wade from Ohio State. I don't know. I think really right now he'll be a nickel or dime corner. I mean, you could see him transitioning to safety. But if usually guys that can play corner, even if it's nickel or dime, tend to like to stay there because there's more money to be made in that position. So,
I agree with that.
Definitely, yeah. We talked about this last week in our last episode. So if you haven't heard that, go check it out on YouTube. But we talked about Shaun Wade a little bit because he's a forgotten guy. Like he had a lot of. He had a lot of buzz coming into the season with, his counterparts, Jeff Okudah and Arnett leaving. A lot of people thought, he was going to be the guy. And, it turned out like he really struggled this year. So, maybe a transition to safety will help him out. Jacob, you was about to say something?
I feel like the only reason he struggled is that he got kind of thrown into an outside corner position when that's not really his game at all. Like I see people. Time for me to go on a Shaun Wade rank. I'm sorry, but I see people knocking him, not having him in their top 100 and stuff like that, saying he can't take them until like day 3. But then people will love like Elijah Molden, and this is no knock on Elijah Molden. Elijah Molden's a really good player. I like Elijah Molden a lot. But what about Shaun Wade struggling this year from the outside? How does that discredit all the good tape and the first round hype he got as a really good slot corner? Mm-hmm. That does not make sense to me. Like him going on the outside and struggling there does not hurt his stock as a slot corner in my eyes. Like I just that doesn't make any sense. It's like if an outside linebacker got forced to play handed a dirt pass rusher and struggled, and you just say, nope, can't play outside linebacker. He can't do it. Mm-hmm. He can't be a run and chase guy or playing coverage because he couldn't rush the passer as a handed dirt guy. Don't make sense to me, man. I don't. Shaun Wade's still good. Don't forget about it, guys.
Yeah, it's understandable, but at the same time, you got to think in the light of a team. If you're thinking about him as a slot guy, you haven't seen him play slot in a while, so I get that
That's
too. I
true.
mean, I understand what you're saying.
That's
So,
true.
but
That is the number one point, though. I mean, I think with the idea of moving Shaun Wade outside this year was to help his draft status.
Yeah.
To solidify he's a day either a day one pick or an early day two pick. Now, I don't like Jacob said, it's crazy not to have him in your top 100 now. The kid's going to be drafted in the third round probably.
They
It's
should.
a good slot corner for you in the beginning. But the idea that like Jerome said, people didn't see him have good game this year. He didn't have good film this year. So now people are going to overreact to that. That's football, man. And like, again, no criticism of anybody. We, as in me, you, Jerome, Jacob, and the other guys we have on here, we're watching game film all year. We're not just waiting to see the highlights of the games. But some people, that's how they evaluate players.
Yeah. Definitely. So, there's a lot of different things that you can take out of different players and pick at them and move them here and this and that. It's all different, especially with a year that we had with a pandemic with a lot of guys, either opting out. So other players had to go in different positions and this and that. And, you're not playing with the full team. Some guys thrive from it. Some guys struggle with it. So it's just an odd year altogether. And we got our first comment in here, which is from Johnny. He says, who do you take out of the top 100 to add him in their place?
Anyone who shouldn't be in there. Anyone who shouldn't be. Where do I have Shaun Wade? Let's take a look. And at my handy dandy, slap some names on a computer screen and call it a big board. Where is Mr. Shaun Wade? I have Shaun Wade at 70 right now because so pretty much my answer to the question is whoever the 29. All right, I'll tell you who the Firemouth, Gamewell, Banks, Brown, Odie but like whoever the 29 players I have below him, it's all subjective to see who's on your board and stuff like that. But you should still be, in my opinion, you got to have him at least 99 or 100. You got to have him at least 99 or 100. But that just to me, I get it. He's not an outside corner, but I don't see how a guy goes from having first round hype to just being completely scratched off like that. That does not. It's weird because if Shaun Wade opted out this year, he'd be possibly a first round pick. But because he played in a different position, he suddenly stinks. That to me doesn't make sense. But hey, if you want to have him 101 and below, that's your prerogative there, player. That's cool. He's just gonna be in my top 100. He's gonna be there 100%.
Yeah, and I'll say this before I let you go. Right, everybody's list. I think like the top 25 people is. Consensus was pretty much the same, especially around this time with the draft and everybody started getting collectively. There's going to be variance in like rankings and like where you have people in that top 25. But then I think right after the top 25, that's when everybody's like list like completely just goes completely different.
100%. 100%.
So many players, different, likes and takes, and it all depends what you like, what kind of defense you like, what kind of offense you like, how's the coaching, where you think they're gonna be good at if they get this kind of coaching or blah blah blah. There's a whole bunch of different factors in it. So I think it just whatever your list is, everybody's list is gonna be different in different types of ways, especially after that 25. Brave, you was about to say something?
Yeah, I have Shaun Wade at 73 on my board on my draft as my draft prospect. He's a 73rd player. And like Jacob said, to just wipe him out of the complete 100 because of, again, playing a little bit out of position probably. And, your answer to the question is who moved him out of the top 100? The guys that were wanting him to be a first-round pick.
I will say, if you didn't have him in your top 100 or you had him like lower already because you just didn't like him before that much, that's cool. If you want to – it's the same argument I have with – not to take it away from safeties, but when I see people that loved Gregory Rousseau coming into this draft process, now having him in like the 50s and stuff like that. I'm like, what changed? How much changed in the past year? Obviously, he didn't play, but then again, there goes my argument. If Sean Wade didn't play, he'd be still looked at as a top guy. I don't know. I get fading him. Oh yeah,
every team have a different top 100 based on their own evaluations. Like Mark Parsons
100%.
on the field. Each team will have him where they based on their needs. And I agree with that. That's the same thing with Jamar Chase. Like there's people that are, he's number one. He's completely number one. I don't care about him not playing that year. And now there's some guys that are like, well, maybe he's not the number one guy. He didn't play last year. He had a couple of, we had a Heisman wide receiver last year that might be better. A guy that, on his same team that might be even better than him. So, again, with this year, it makes it a lot different and a lot harder. But Jacob, you was about to continue.
But yeah, if you were a team, like say you're the Colts, you shouldn't really have Sean Wade on your draft board that much, and he shouldn't be someone that you should be looking at that much because you already have Kenny Moore. Obviously, this is all subjective. It's the same way how, like, if you're a team with great receivers, then, like, on your draft list of guys to target, Jamar Chase and Devonta Smith shouldn't be that high up on your list. So, yeah, I agree with that. It's everyone's list is different. Every team's list is different. Obviously, that's how it works. But from my list, you betcha Sean Wade's going to be on there. And whether it's as a slot corner, whether it's as a safety, I like him both as one of those, as a guy that could do both, and be a versatile piece on your defense. As long, it's almost like the Jalen Mills rule. I like him on my defense as long as he's not outside on an island where he's going to get killed by double moves. I see a lot of Jalen Mills and Shaw Wade, by the way. I like Jalen Mills. Jalen Mills just got paid for a reason.
Yeah. Ray, any final words?
Jalen Mills can barely cover you, man, but that's besides the point.
Listen, man, he killed it at safety. He killed it at safety this year. I will not hear anything different.
He did struggle. It was new. You could tell it was new to him. I could definitely.
Jerome, I think that Jalen Mills will eventually be a solid safety. I did not see anything that told me he was that right now.
I think
and the Patriots, for some reason, just overpaid everybody. They completely went away from what they usually do. Now, Bill Belichick will coach them up and get them all to play good football and ask them, just like Patrick Chung looked bad here, but went to New England, and they let him play that role, and he became a better football player. Or no, he would just ask you to do what his strengths are, which is what Bill Belichick usually does. And, again, I don't have a problem with Jalen Mills, and not to beat a dead horse. The guy was a cornerback on the team that won a Super Bowl. So
yes, he was.
He was.
So shut down Julio that one possession. Just saying.
One possession. I like that.
That one possession. Never mind, like the 100 yards he had. But whatever. That's cool.
I didn't, I didn't think that Jalen Mills was the worst at corner. He wasn't a number one corner. I also don't think he had enough time to play safety. I think he's going to do well with Bill Belichick because he's going to take out the best in him and really work. Yeah. So I think that was a signing for them. Like Ray said, it might be overpaid, but I think he's going to be solid. But
overpay for your guys. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
well, there's a reason why you overpay for guys, though. You drafted poorly, so
Yeah,
that's true. All right, well, let's get into my favorite segment of this. This is called the best fit game. This is where I give these guys a team. They're going to tell me what safety is the best fit for that team specifically. So we're going to get right into it. I'm going to let Jacob go first because it's our favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles. So who are you taking for Philadelphia Eagles to play safety for us?
So knowing that it's sounding increasingly likely we're going wide receiver in the first round now. From everything Sirianni keeps saying, it sounds like he's trying to really. It sounds like Devonta Smith's really someone that we got a laser on, as Woj would say. I'm going to say Tyler Gillespie. I think he's someone that I know he played a lot of single high at Mizzou, I think someone like him with his good athleticism and his hitting power, I think he could do really good in a too high look, which is I think we're going to do. We don't know what Gannon's going to implement, but a lot of what he's done has been those split coverage looks. And again, I just feel like he can very much thrive with us. And I don't think we're going to have to take him that high either. Like, I think he could be a good replacement there for us. That's about the extent of my scheme knowledge goes for most of these teams. I know I've studied what we're supposed to do, but don't kill me if I get your team scheme wrong.
Yeah, especially with new schemes like the Eagles, like you don't really know exactly what they're gonna do. Mm-hmm. We already know what he's gonna do last year with what's his name? Defensive coach. Man, I'm looking at his name already. Just got rid of him.
Jim Schwartz. Yeah,
Jim Schwartz. Yeah, him. You know, we know what he was getting with him. He played pretty much the same type of defense all year. But
that was part of the problem. So did everybody else know what he was going to do? So
every year,
exactly. So Ray, I'm gonna bless you with having the Jags. You're on the clock. Who are you giving them as for safety?
I'm going to go LSU. Jacoby Stevens. I think he's a guy who can play up near the line of scrimmage. They play a 4-3 defense, which is kind of stupid. I think that the personnel is that they should play at more of a 3-4 hybrid. But I think that Jacoby Stevens, again, LSU player, strong tackler, solid cover guy. It's not his strength, but he can do some nice things against running backs and tight ends. I think he's a good football player. I would go Jacoby Stevens. And you're going to see, I think with their coach, they're going to go a lot of these Power 5 teams, especially early in the draft. So,
all right, Ray, you make a good point about the Jags front four because they got Josh Allen and Chase on. Probably better to play 3-4. I mean,
I love Josh Allen, but anybody who doesn't think he should be playing in a 3-4 probably or maybe shouldn't be coaching NFL football. So,
I think I've heard rumblings that they're thinking of implementing more 3-4 and being more of a multiple scheme defense, which they should. I mean, you have two explosive, bendy type of pass rushers, and you pretty much just said no, hand in the dirt. That doesn't make any sense. What do you? This is why you guys won one game last year.
Correct.
Like, come on. This is why y'all won one game.
Jerome knows, like me, we've been doing this I think this is our fourth season, going on our fourth year now. We've been doing this. And I love Josh Allen after his junior year in college. The kid was exceptional. And he bulked up, put on that 30 pounds of extra muscle. But it's still, as an edge player coming out, I had him as my third or fourth edge guy. But as an outside linebacker, edge guy who can get after the quarterback and do some things in coverage, I think the kid is amazing. So tell him to play one style. Let me wrong. He can put his hand in the dirt, get after the quarterback. But to just tell him to do that on every down is wasting his talent.
I agree. I very much agree.
Definitely agree. So one team that should play a 3-4 to a team that does play 3-4. We got the Baltimore Ravens. Jacob, you are blessed with giving them a safety. Who do you think they can put in their defense to make them even more threatening?
It's a tough one. It's a really tough one, but because there's two guys that I'm battling in my head, but I don't think they're going to get the one. I would love to see Trayvon Murray there, but unless they're taking him at 20, what are they?
27?
20, they're in the 20s. They're somewhere in the mid-late 20s. Unless they're taking him there, which I don't think they will because they need a dude that can actually play receiver for them and someone that could actually get to the quarterback. So I don't think that Murray's going to be in there in the second round.
They're the 27th team.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be there for the second round. I want to go with their other TCU safety there. I'm going to give him Mardarius. I just have a feeling that he would do really good there. Again, I love his instincts. He's not the fastest. Like he had a middle, like you look at his relative athletic score, it's like right in the middle, which might I add is kind of impressive considering he's like 5'8". You know what I mean? So like his explosiveness is really good, and he can tackle, he can hit. I would like to see him with that system. And again, I feel like he fits a swagger of that team.
All right. Well, let's get to Ray's pick, and we're gonna get him the Indianapolis Colts. Who do you think they can grab?
You know what? I'm going to go for them. I'm going to go Richie Grant from UCF, a guy who can play single high, good solid tackler. I think they would run a guy who can cover a little bit. I think that's his game, really. I'm a big Richie Grant fan. I keep mocking him to Miami in the second or third round, to be honest with you. I think he's a good football player. I think he's a Florida kid. But I think with the Colts, he'd be a really good football player. So
I love it.
Definitely. Yeah. Now, this next team I don't necessarily agree with, but I did see this on the NFL the NFL. What is it? The Draft Network. I'm sorry. The LA Chargers.
Okay.
I don't agree with this because I do think Nasir Adderley is going to take that next step up, and then they also have obviously James in there. Mm-hmm. Jacob, who do you think maybe they can bring in? Maybe be like a nickel safety for them.
So I've heard from Chargers fans that they actually want a safety. It's kind of out there, but I would look to see if I can get them some sort of free safety. I'd look at like a Jamar Johnson as someone that can run and cover. Honestly, if they don't believe in Nasir Adderley that much, Andre Cisco would not be a bad option here at all, because that would allow Derwin James to do Derwin James type things, and Andre Cisco could just take everything up top. But if they're looking for another guy that I could see there would be like a James Wiggins, another athletic free type of safety there. So I think Andre Cisco would be a nice fit there if in like day 2. A little higher than I have him graded, but he's gonna go higher than I would take him.
Yeah. I mean, I think they eventually. I think at some point of the draft they will take another safety, because Derwin James' health haven't been the greatest, but also when he is healthy, you can move him around. But like I said, you can in a nickel package. You can move him at corner. You can move him at linebacker. You can move him, blitz him off the edge if you want to. So I think you could do a lot more things if you have a really good safety out back there as well to help out.
Javon Holland would also be interesting there, because you have two kind of like, if they do believe in Adderley, have like another like not rotational but like chess piecey kind of safety there, and have him almost running as a nickel guy with Derwin. That'd be really, really interesting to see if they do that.
Definitely. All right, Ray, you're gonna go. I'm gonna give you, one of my favorite football team names, the football team. So what do you think you're gonna give Washington as a safety?
You know what? I'm gonna go Nasruddin from Florida State. Again, a chess piece type guy, who can play some in the box safety, play a little like hybrid linebacker for you. I think Washington is very physical with their defense where they're down 4 guys. I think that they're not going to ask their safeties to do a lot of covering anyway. They're going to ask them to just tackle whenever something gets past the line of scrimmage. But I mean, I hate the fact that the Washington is going to change their football name. I'm not going to lie about that. And I just think it's kind of dumb myself. But again, I understand it's the times and the way things are. And just for those, I am part Cherokee Indian, and I'm not offended at all by the name Redskins. Okay, so it's all good.
Definitely. But to get off that subject, to give you a little argument, though, Ray. They got Landon Collins, which does a lot of that. Do you not believe in Landon Collins, or you think you want to use him in different, spots?
I think they're similar type players. I think that they're very versatile. And again, you're not going to ask your your safeties to cover much. You're going to ask them to play and make sure they're short tacklers. And I think Nasruddin can do some stuff for you in coverage. I just think that again they are very similar players.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean maybe it's not technically a great fit. I just think again if you look at their safeties, they do a lot of stuff up near the line of scrimmage. They don't play any single high safety at all in Washington. Mm-hmm. So I just think technically way he's a good player. If I was going to go with him, I would go with Javon Hollins. I think again a guy who's athletic. Isn't the fastest guy, but actually can do some things in the coverage. Again, as far as covering tight ends and running backs, because really, Washington doesn't really give you a chance to throw the ball downfield usually. So,
yeah. Okay. All right, let's get to our last team, and then we're gonna wrap it up right after this. Jacob, you got the pleasure of giving the Vikings another safety. You know, Harris is getting older. They just lost Anthony. What's his last name?
Pretty sure he's also Harris.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They are both Harris, right? Anthony Harris has just got signed to the Eagles. So, who would be replacing him on the Vikings?
So I know that they brought in for their free Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods is such a nice little stopgap guy, isn't he? Like,
yeah.
He's such a nice little he's solid enough to start. You never really want him to be like your future answer, but like if there's not anyone extremely better, you're just gonna be like, yeah, we'll stick with him. Who could they go with? This is a tough one, actually. A really tough one because Harrison Smith is getting older, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's starting to play a lot more closer to the line of scrimmage as well.
Yeah, he's kind of going from that free safety to more playing their strong type of role. It's a cop out, but I'll just say Richie Grant. I just say Richie Grant. I just think he fits that placement in the second round. I just think he's really good. I think that he's a guy I'm willing to really bet on, knowing his story as a former, I want to say, 2-star recruit. If he even was that, he had like one FBS offer of note with UCF, and he's just been a fighter his entire life, his entire football career, and he's just gotten better and better and better and better. And when the moment was on him the biggest, the Senior Bowl, he was arguably the best defensive player there. Yeah. So I'm extremely willing to bet on him there, and he could take over either role really as a free or a strong guy.
Definitely. I think, I really like Richie Grant. I hope that he does well wherever he goes in the NFL. You know, I wanted him for the Eagles for a long time since I seen him. So, you know, maybe that might still happen. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. But thank you guys for checking us out again. We are super excited to have, wrapped up this segment. Next week, we are going to be doing the special draft for next week. So we're going to have our final draft. Make sure you check that out the day before the actual NFL draft. Check that out. We're going to have my man Jacob in there, my man Ray. We're going to have Jack in there. We're going to have Ben in there. So we're all going to have, some great guys that know football. If you haven't been watching, our series, we've been doing, evaluating each player, and each one of those guys come in and chime in, and we've been rotating those guys. But we're going to have our final mock draft. This will be our third one, I believe. Third?
Yep, third one.
Third and final one. So make sure you check that out because you don't know what anybody's gonna pick. That's around the time you hear a lot of rumors. We might get a trade or two with some picks right before the draft. So make sure you check that out. We are on we are on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we're on YouTube. So make sure you go check that out. Also, make sure you check out our website, InsideTheHatches.com, where a lot of these players that we talked to and interview, they're on our website. They're also on our Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on there as well, where you can listen to a lot of these players. We got a real big guy coming up very, very soon, so make sure you check it out.
Is it official? Is it official, or are you still trying not to jinx yourself?
It is official, but I'm not saying it yet because it's going to be a surprise. So make sure you go check that out. potential first round pick. So definitely make sure you check that out. I'm teasing it so y'all can go check out our website. So make sure you go check that out. Inside the Hashes. If you are on YouTube or you want to go back and watch this, after it's out, you can go on our YouTube channel. It'll be out on there. Just search Inside the Hashes. Just make sure you like and subscribe on there so you can check, when these are going up, and you can go back and watch it up, and get some good insight of how some of these players, and we talk about our safety. We did everybody else, so make sure you go check that out. Inside the Hashes on YouTube. Please subscribe to that. Also, Ray had the fans of any Jets fans. So again, Ray, I'm gonna let you take over. But what was you saying last time about the Jets fans? You got a Jets jersey?
I have actually what they are is face scarves. There's like 3 or 4 of them in a pack, and I have a brand new pair of slides still in a pack. It was given to me as I think a spoof type of a joke because people know I'm a Dolphins fan. I have a thing where if you pick the top 5 players, the Jets have, I believe, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a third-round pick. If you get them 5 picks right, of course, I would like it if you got the most players. But if you don't, say you pick the right position, I'll go with that person. But whoever has the most players correct will win them items.
Definitely. So check that out. If you want to submit what you think, even if you're not a Jets fan, you want to give maybe a Jets fan, get a gift for a Jets fan.
Hold on a second. Yeah. I want a Jets fan to win them because if someone's going to burn them, I'll burn them myself. Because again, I looked up what these things like everything is like a $50 value. Why would someone who's going to want to wear them, want to jump again, never been touched, still in the packs, still in the gift bag that it was given to me in. But I want a Jets fan, which I'm not a fan of Jet fans because, of course, I'm a Dolphins fan. But I would like it if a Jets fan won them and enjoyed them.
Yeah, I'll try to expand the horizon of people because it's not a lot of Jets fans.
Don't we have somebody who works with Inside the Hashes who actually is a Jets fan?
Juan is a Jets fan.
Yeah, I know, but I saw Juan wearing a Steelers jersey one time, so I think he's a fake fan, but that's okay.
It's like every jersey.
Juan collects jerseys.
Yeah, well, so did I too when I was 12. only one jersey touches my body now, okay?
Why you coming at my man Juan? But
you forgot what team does he root for?
Huh?
What team does he root for?
He's a Jets fan.
So why would I go after him?
That makes sense. But yeah, like we say, if you're a Jets fan, email us a list of the players that you think are going to get drafted. I'm gonna send them off to Ray, and you can win some free gear. So I'm gonna pick this up. Also next week. So anybody wants to put in their last submission, they definitely can. But with that being said, we would like to thank everybody. Super excited. Make sure you check us out next Thursday, 7:00. We're gonna have our final mock draft. You don't want to miss it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna have all these guys on there. So please make sure you go in there, support us. It's gonna be interactive like all our other videos. So you can leave comments in there. If somebody drafts a team or a player that you don't like on your team, you could cuss out Ray because Ray's probably going to be able to do it. No, I'm joking. But guys, once again, we love to thank you guys for being on with us. We really enjoy doing this, and we're super excited about this draft coming up, man. So can't wait. We got one more week. It's almost here. One more week, guys. Single digits. Let's go. So once again, I'm Jerome Jones, your humble host. We got Jacob right here. We got Ray Roberts. Thank you guys so much, and we see you next week. Peace.